Let's get to tonight's game here. I know the chat's been dying to talk about one of the plays that happened. It's got brought up a few different times. I mentioned there as you were coming in that play from Matthews across off the faceoff, walks the guy, gets it across off the bounce back where he has to make a second pass, still with his hand turned over. But it's not just that. Like that's an incredible play on its own. The chat here has been going nuts about the bank shot at the end of the game. Can you just kind of speak to some of the skill that Auston Matthews has and just how unique of a player he is? Because so far to this season, it's been a slow start offensively for him for his standards, let's say. He's been an incredible 200-foot player, but just the impacts that he's making all over the ice, it's been pretty incredible. And it kind of sums it up there tonight with how good he is with his skill.
Yeah, I mean, just so good and so fun to watch, especially tonight. Like you said, those plays he was making are semi subtle, but so crazy. Like his bank empty net goal is so hard to do just in practice, just skating around. Like to do that in a game is is pretty wild. And I don't know if I've seen a nicer empty net goal than that. But the play off the face off um, is crazy because it like you said, it looked like his hand was turned over to win it back, and he went forward, and that's hard to do in general. And I really like Mitchie's pass too, because a lot of guys, probably including myself, would just shovel that one on net, and Mitchie finds nice for a tap in. So um, so much talent, so fun to watch, and yeah, it's nice. I was excited to come on here tonight because it meant I got to watch the Leafs game, and those guys they're fun to watch, especially Austin. He played amazing.
There are a couple of questions here about that, and you talk about you get to watch the game here tonight. But have you been watching much of the Leafs? And there is a super chat from our guy Maxentius Decimus in the chat, and he says, "Tyler, do you have a favorite Leafs player right now? And if so, why?"
I have not watched a lot. I haven't seen that. Might have been the first Leafs game I've seen this year, but I thought they played great. And my favorite Leafs player, oh, I love all those guys.
I know, tough question.
I think Toronto's lucky to have those guys like Mitchie Sauce and Morgan, Austin. I mean, they're just special and amazing people, and Toronto's lucky to have those guys for sure. They're all just really good people, and um, on top of that, very fun to watch.
I have a question for you here because you talk about these guys and you're bringing up how great of players they are, how good of people they are. But one thing that we have had some frustrations with here experiencing so far this season amongst Leafs fans has been the power play. You put all those guys on a power play together, and I think for most people's kind of assumption would be that they should be able to score at some outrageous clip. You know, they should have no issue scoring. It hasn't really been the case so far this season. A look again here tonight, obviously an incredible 4-1 win, but you look a little bit deeper into this one. They go 0 for 2 on the power play tonight. As for kind of big picture, I think that we saw them look a little bit more dangerous in some of the opportunities they had in this game specifically. That second power play, they generated a couple of great, like grade A chances. Pacioretty in the slot gets blocked. Domi hits the post, like things like that. But as far as those guys just not being able to produce at the man advantage so far for this season, is this something that is like a panic type situation? You think that they kind of figure this out? Like, take us inside that power play room where they're having these meetings and saying, how the hell do we figure this out? Like, do you have an answer for what's going on right now?
Well, I think I mean, it's probably a good thing that it's struggling right now, and they're still playing well. Like it's gonna come. They're too good not to have a strong power play eventually at some point. It's still early in the year, so um, I think that I mean, if it's clicking down the stretch and into playoffs, that's all that really matters. As long as they find that timing, there's new guys on the team. Um, Timing is always hard, um, but they have the skill. I mean, you saw that tonight. That's the reason why they won is because I mean Seattle and Toronto both checked hard and they played systems well, but the difference was the fact that Toronto's got high-end elite superstars. And I think that power play is just eventually going to click, and it will. Like, there's just no reason why it won't.
Before the game here tonight, we found out through the media, which no surprise, things getting made more of a deal than maybe they even should be here in Toronto. But Willie had asked Berube and has had conversations with Berube about wanting more ice time. That gets made public, and it was kind of an interesting one that had happened, that came out. Um, what do you think about him kind of going in there asking for it, and then the game he has here tonight to follow that one up? A couple of goals for him, some grade A chances. He looks really good. Obviously, there's a couple of moments where it cuts to Berube on the bench. Looks like he's giving him an earful. But outside of that, from start to finish, seemed like Willie had a great game here to kind of prove, hey, maybe I should be getting some more minutes.
I mean, I don't know anything about that conversation and who really knows, but I think Willie's a very confident guy, um, and he's so good. And I think Craig Berube is a coach that's honest and um, can talk to players and get the most out of them. So I have no idea what their conversations look like, but I know Willie's confident and Berube is a player's guy. So I'm sure in my, I can only speak for myself, but coaches
Yep.
that were like Craig Berube, I liked because there was never anything personal. It was all about what you do on the ice. And I'm sure he loved the way Willie performed tonight. And uh, Willie's just continued to impress me over the years about how special he is as a player.
The other thing you kind of touched on, Berube's coaching, like what they're gonna demand of these guys. What's one of the biggest things that you think will or maybe has changed with Berube here in Toronto for this group? At least whether it's mentality, style of play, is it going to be very very different by game 82 from what it was even say last season for this group? Are we going to have to continue to expect more and more change?
I don't know. I don't know Craig Berube. I know the guys in the Leafs locker room well. I think that they're Toronto's lucky to have a group that they have. I know they get a lot of heat for not having playoff success, but that's a core group that I think 32 teams or 33 teams, how many there are, would want.
Yeah.
Um, I think that uh, from what I've heard, that Craig Berube is a player's guy. Like I said, I've never had him before, but
Yeah.
I think that's good. I mean, I think any honesty and transparency between players and coaches is a recipe for success, regardless of what you see in terms of yelling at each other, etc. I think as long as there's honesty and transparency, that stuff doesn't really matter as long as you're getting the most out of each other. So I liked that they hired Craig just from what I've heard about him.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like it's already been something that we're seeing like accountability being taken amongst the roster, amongst these guys. We're seeing like a little bit more of a kind of buy in some of the defensive game. One of the guys that I kind of curious your thoughts on has been Max Pacioretty. You got to play against him for a long period of time during your career. It was a very different player than what he is now and how he even played here tonight. Did it surprise you to see the, I guess, shift in mindset of Pacioretty and how he's adapted here and the kind of role that he's playing in Toronto?
Um, I think that the thing that surprised me would be the fact that he still came back from that injury and is successful. You know,
Yeah.
two times getting hurt like that and coming back is impressive. And for him to go on a PTO and make a team that's got a lot of offense coming off two injuries like that is impressive. So I think that speaks to his character, his determination, what he wants out of this year. He's a veteran guy that's going to help that locker room just from his experience. Um, and he can score goals. I mean,
Yeah.
you give him the puck, he can score. So um, I think it was a great signing, and immediately I think people saw from the first time he played off that PTO that he was good. So the Leafs added more goal scoring for sure with Max, and I don't know him personally, but
Yeah.
definitely impressed with how he's come back from those injuries at that age.
I got one more question for you here. Have you ever seen Heat Daddy on Twitter and his tweets to you and about you?
Yes, I'm a big fan of his. I think that guy's hilarious.
Yeah, one of my favorite ones is when he tweets the picture of you in the gold helmet. That's an all timer. It circles back every now and then. And says he's gonna have this kind of night, and it's you in the gold helmet. It makes me laugh every time.
I've met him a few times, and he's equally funny in person as he is on Twitter. And I mean, I'll just go on and read some of his tweets and just start giggling because it's so funny and so ridiculous. And I've even seen him in person. I said, tweet something quickly, like really funny. Like, I don't believe how you can be this funny, like this quick. And he's like, okay. So he takes his phone out, just 2 seconds, tweets something up. Funniest thing I've ever read. He's just great.
That's good stuff. Last thing I want to ask you, actually, I just thought about this as we were going, and I saw some people in the chat say it a little bit earlier here. Toronto gets a lot of heat for a quiet arena. You know, it's like this quiet barn. You can't get much life going in there. Rosie has a theory, and I'm buying into the theory that it's just on TV. It's just on TV. The mics aren't loud enough in there. They're not doing it justice. Can you confirm this conspiracy that Rosie and I have together? Is it louder in the arena than it is on TV, and they're just trying to make it seem like it's quiet?
It's definitely louder than what it seems on TV, but I also think that there's arenas that are louder.
Makes
Um,
sense.
like it's some rinks are just chaotic and it's just like crazy. You can't even hear yourself think. And Toronto, I don't think is at that level. But yeah, I mean, it's definitely louder than on TV seems for sure. Like even watching the game tonight, I was like, oof, it doesn't seem that loud. Like it's a little
Yeah.
sleepy in there, but yeah, I think Rosie's correct that it's louder in there for sure.
All right, fair enough. I appreciate it. We're trying to test this out and see what people think about it because the Amazon Prime ones, I don't know, maybe it was the mics, maybe they got some new tech or something, but all of a sudden those games go on and they do the one on Monday night against Tampa and we're sitting there watching. Rosie comes on and he's like, I think they jacked those things up in the building. Sounded like it was going nuts on that Monday night, but that was where we were at with that. So we wanted to see if anybody else could confirm for us.
I mean, I would like it to get louder in there, but I mean, it's Toronto. Those tickets are so expensive. You
Yeah.
might not get the crowd that's somewhere else, you know. But it is still loud. It's an NHL arena and it's the mecca of hockey, so
Yep.
it gets rowdy in there. But I wouldn't put it up there in the top five of loud rinks.
That's fair. Tyler, I appreciate you taking the time to do this, hopping on and breaking this game down. Hell of a career. Very fun player to watch. Someone that I was really excited about when you joined the Leafs and just being on the team. So I appreciate you taking the time to do this, and this was pretty cool for myself as well. Thank you.
No problem. Thanks for having me on. Appreciate it.
For more content just like this, including game previews, post-game live shows, Leafs Morning Take, Monday through Friday with Nick Alberga and Jay Rosehill with special guests, as well as instant reaction videos. Make sure to be subscribed here to the Leafs Nation YouTube channel. Turn on notifications so you don't miss anything, and drop a like.